I hope everyone is as thrilled as I am about this monumental adventure we're going to be taking across the globe with Beyond Recreation's Anne Henningfeld and Michael J. Garner. There you go, guys. Take it away.
Picture yourself at a SpringFest in April, watching from the comfort of your couch in your home. We're gonna take a trip round this planet we live on, from Rome to where the buffalo roam. You see, the first Rome that I was talking about is like Rome, Italy, so it's spelled differently, like R-O-M-E. And then the second Rome is where the buffaloes are. It's time to start the SpringFest now. It's time to start the SpringFest now. It's time to start the SpringFest now. Whoa, it's time to start the SpringFest now. It's time to start. Welcome, everyone, to SpringFest 2021. We are going to go on a virtual trip all around the world, and we're going to meet up with some of our circus friends along the way. I'm Michael J. Garner, and I'll be your tour guide for the journey this evening. And with me, as always, is my absolute favorite travel partner in the entire world. It's Anne Henningfeld. Hi, Anne.
Hello. Hi, Mike. Hi, everyone. Hello, SpringFest. Hello, Michigan. I am so excited to be here with you and be back with you. I'm so grateful we've gotten this opportunity. But speaking of opportunities, back in 2016, Michael, who you just met, got the opportunity to join Cirque du Soleil show Kuza, like Sue just told you about, for their global tour. And that meant that I got the opportunity to go with him. And I was as what they call an official accompanying member, which is a big mouthful for saying that I was a spouse that got to go along. And that meant for months or even years at a time, we would be traveling the biggest cities across the globe. Now, look, I'm from Adrian. I went to school in Alma. I mean, those of you from small town Michigan can absolutely understand what life might be like in Adrian or Alma. And you can understand maybe the kind of apprehension I was feeling at the thought of going to Sydney and Beijing and all the other places that we went. I was worried about culture shock. I was worried about language barriers. I was worried about using public transportation. We don't have taxis or buses or trains in Adrian. I was worried about foreign grocery stores. I was worried about language. But you know what? I made a discovery pretty early on once I met up with Mike in Sydney. Every skill I needed for world travel, I had already learned during my time in the bleeding disorder community. I needed to build a family out of the people who are going through the same thing I was going through, just the way you all have already done. I needed to be resilient. I couldn't let a little adversity or a lot of adversity keep me from having amazing experiences, just the way my friends with bleeding disorders have led the most amazing lives, despite the difficulties that come with living with a bleeding disorder. And I needed to be my own best advocate. And if you have ever seen someone with a bleeding disorder show up in a small town emergency department, then you have seen the best self-advocate there is. Community, resilience, self-advocacy, y'all have it in spades. And I was lucky enough to learn that from you. You all helped me have the adventure of a lifetime. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And now I get to bring together two of my very favorite communities, the bleeding disorder community and the circus community. Michael, will you take us on a trip around the world?
Absolutely. Thanks for those marvelous words, Anne. Now, we're going to go on this great virtual trip around the world. And the great thing about going virtual is that it's much easier to visit with our friends on the other side of the planet. We don't have to get on a plane for 12 hours. We can just log in and see them over the internet. So that's fantastic. We're going to see and we're going to hear from our friends in Australia, from Israel, and from England. And we're going to have performances from artists who are in Taiwan, in Mongolia, and in Morocco. And as a bonus treat, those artists are going to be here for a live question and answer session at the end of tonight's program. Okay, so we've got a packed itinerary, so we got to get going. First thing I want to talk about is that one of my favorite things to do while on tour with the circus is to visit music shops anywhere we go. And whenever I go into a music shop, it's very likely I'm going to pick one up. And this is an example from the very first place that I started touring with Cirque, which is South America. It's a South American instrument called a charango. And it's exactly as if a ukulele had a baby with like a 12-string guitar. Look at that headstock. Look at all of those tuning pegs. And so there's also some beautiful artwork on the back. All right. And so I'm going to play a little song on the charango for you, which is going to have a very distinctly 80s feel. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised downriver Detroit. You see what I did there is I said downriver Detroit instead of South Detroit. That's for you Michiganders who know that there's not a South Detroit, it's downriver Detroit. So I've actually written a letter to Journey to ask them to change that in future versions of Don't Stop Believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street lights, people, oh, oh, oh. Charango. I don't think they're going to make that change to the song. So, all right. So we're here to talk about a few different topics. And the first one is community. So one of the most difficult things when you first start out on tour and you first enter a country is that you don't know how anything works and you have to figure it out on your own. And that's before you meet anyone on the tour. So you feel a little bit stranded and isolated. But for example, like, I don't know if any of you have ever tried to get a SIM card for your mobile phone in China, but whatever easy is, it's the exact opposite of that. It is extraordinarily difficult to get one. But someone always goes first. Someone has done it before, has been in the country before, or someone was there a few days ahead of you and they've already done it, and they're willing to share that information. And that's the power of community. Okay. And if you're new to a community or new to an experience, it's okay to hang back a little bit and ask for help when you need it. Okay. Sometimes your community can be large. It can be the entire circus of 120 people we tour around with internationally, or it can be the whole bleeding disorder community. But communities can also be small. It can just be you and your roommate. It can just be you and the family of your child's best camp friend. Right. But the most important thing is to have some sort of community to plug into, because that's what really matters. So for more on this topic, Anne had a great conversation with a couple of our friends from the circus, Yoko and Michaela, and they're going to talk a little bit about the strength of being able to lean on some other people in your community. And I'll bet you'll find some parallels with the circus and with the bleeding disorder community. So please roll that tape.
Thank you, my dear friends, for coming to join me for this very informal interview about what it's like to live with families when you're on tour, and how the circus becomes kind of an extended family. In a lot of ways, the bleeding disorder community, the hemophilia community is very, very similar to the circus community. We spend a lot of time together. We are really supportive of each other and sort of become a second family, I think, like when we're on tour. And we all met on tour with the circus, although never the three of us on tour at the same time. When people ask you, what's it like being on tour? What do you say?
It becomes like a new normal, really, doesn't it? I mean, to my standard, I got quite good at packing like the week before. And so it was kind of like, at the beginning, it was like, oh, what a nightmare. And then it was just like, oh, just something you did.
I know, Yoko, from when I was with you in Australia, like you have books for your children. You know,
Yeah.
because children need books. Also, your children speak 3 languages, so they have books in 3 languages. So,
But at the end, we try to use library a lot more.
but that means every time you go to a new city, you have to figure out how to use a new library.
Oh yeah, I have so many library cards from all over the world.
So, Michaela, when you joined tour in Japan, you said that you didn't really have any notion of what Japan was going to be like. What was the biggest challenge for you when you arrived in Japan and just had to start living there with the tour?
I think something like the subway, that was the biggest challenge for me. And food, particularly for a very picky 3-year-old. Can I talk about because we were there for the earthquake as well. So that was, that was quite an incredible experience, which Chloe still remembers as well. I'd met Yoko a few times, but when we met outside, I just grabbed Chloe and got out of the building that we were in, the apartment, and Chloe didn't have any shoes on. It must have been Mio, because she was about the same age, had some socks on and shoes. So Yoko gave me Mio's socks for Chloe to put on because she didn't have any shoes on and she was running around. And I was like, oh, thanks. Yeah, I probably should have put something on the feet. So
that doesn't surprise me at all that Yoko would give Chloe shoes. I mean, we were like well on tour before I thought about what it would be like to go through a natural disaster on tour. So thankfully, people's stories and people talking about their own experiences really helped me be more prepared. So like whenever we went to a country where I didn't speak the language, I would always change my emergency contact to someone from the circus who did speak the language. So like the whole time we were in Spain, Robski was my emergency contact because I figured if something happened to me and someone found my phone, they would be calling in Spanish and Michael wouldn't be any help. One of the best things that's happened for me on tour is just being okay with asking strangers for help.
Oh.
And then when I like need big help, making relationships with the people on the circus to ask for big help. So being part of other people's families and being able to be there and be helpful. I felt so helpful, so useful. You know, when I could pick the girls up after school for you made me feel so useful.
Like being useful is a major part to be happy on tour, I think. So even like not just helpful to my family, but like friends, you know, like being a friend to like Michaela saved my life on tour. Literally, yes. I was so like in Japan, I had Hannah, so that I had newborn and not even 2-year-old kid. It was super hard. Then I was almost, I think when I look back then, I was depressed, like postpartum depressed. Then, but Michaela was around and always, you know, when I go to the park, she comes along, either Michaela and Chloe comes along or, you know, always talk or whatever. Then she's so funny and always make things cheerful and, you know, then always invite us to the dinner, which is so, you know, graceful. It was wonderful. Then, yeah, so then those friendships and also being helpful to each other are very important to me to be on tour.
There are a lot of things that you all said that I think really resonate for me when it comes to hemophilia and being there for each other and just kind of showing up. You know, the way you both talked about being there for each other and showing up during the earthquake or during the time when Hannah was just a wee little three-week-old. It's hard for me to imagine what that must have been like to be on tour with the two little ones and your life at that point. But I also love what you talked about, just, you know, introducing yourself, letting people know you're there and you're available and they can ask for your help, but only offering it when asked and being like, Yoko, I feel like I could ask you anything in the world and you would tell me and you would never judge me for what I decided to do with that information. And that feels like if I could be one kind of person in the world, it would be like someone who is freely able to give information and then just let it go out into the world and not be bothered with what anybody does with it. So I love seeing that in practice in you and in life and having gotten to be on tour with both of you in different ways. I hope we manage to figure it out again someday soon.
Thank you so much, Yoko, Michaela, and Anne. What a fantastic and brilliant conversation. All right, it is my pleasure to introduce to you two contortionists from Cirque du Soleil who are continuing the grand tradition of world-class contortion coming out of Mongolia. I've had the pleasure of touring with them for a number of years now, and it brings joy to my heart to be able to share their amazing talent with you. So please welcome to the stage Ninjin Aktanghuig and Cinder Enktur. I hope I got this right. And they're currently in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. So please welcome Ninjin and Cinder. Spectacular. That is strong work, ladies. Well done. Well done. All right. So I would like now to talk a little bit about resilience. And resilience simply is the ability to get back up when you've been knocked down. And sometimes it can be a small knock, like if you've ever tried to buy milk in China, because milk comes in the exact same container as yogurt. They look identical. So sometimes you get milk, sometimes you get yogurt in your coffee. That's all I'm saying. But sometimes it's a big knock, and like you're needing to get a knee replacement, but you happen to be in a country where no person with hemophilia has ever gotten a knee replacement surgery done before. So I'd like to present to you now a video from the World Federation of Hemophilia featuring some gentlemen from Nepal who know more about resilience than I ever could. So I'm going to let them say it in their own words.
My name is Mr. Sarma Paudel. I'm a clinical hematologist and I work in Civil Service Hospital situated in Kathmandu, the capital city of Nepal. My center is a tertiary center for blood-related disorder. Therefore, patients with hemophilia do get clotting factors as per need or demand. Nepal solely depends upon WFH Humanitarian Aid project for clotting factors. I cannot imagine a life of hemophilia patient without humanitarian aid support, whether it be a simple on-demand treatment or emergency treatment like intracranial bleed or complicated surgery secondary to individual. Humanitarian aid has always supported and provided us clotting factor when needed.
I am Om Krishna Sakhakarmi from the Nepal Bhaktapur. I am 23 years old now and I have a severe hemophilic deficiency with factor 8 and I have an inhibitor too. Last year चाहिँ मेरो चाहिँ डाक्टर विशेषको नेतृत्वमा चाहिँ जोर्नी प्रत्यारोपण अपरेसन चाहिँ राम्रो भएर सक्सेस भएको थियो र यसै क्रममा नेपाल हेमोफिलिया सोसाइटीसँगको कोअर्डिनेटरमा चाहिँ डोनरहरूद्वारा चाहिँ मलाई चाहिने रूपमा फ्याक्टर डोनेसन उहाँहरूले मिलाइदिनु भएर चाहिँ विगत लास्ट इयर चाहिँ मेरो चाहिँ डाक्टर विशेषको नेतृत्वमा चाहिँ जोर्नी प्रत्यारोपण अपरेसन चाहिँ राम्रो भएर सक्सेस भएको थियो जोर्नी प्रत्यारोपण गरेपछि चाहिँ मजाले ती कामहरू सजिलैसँग गर्न सक्ने भएको छु मजाले आफै नुहाउन सक्ने अथवा आफ्नो डेली लाइफमा युज हुने काम कुराहरू आफैले गर्न सक्ने भएको छु त्यसैगरी मैले चाहिँ मेरो जीवनयापन गर्नको लागि भनेर मजाले कुर्सीमै बसेर गर्न सकिन्छ कि भन्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ 3D एनिमेसन क्लास जोइन गरेको छु जसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ
I am Jagatman Raj Bahak. I am 30 years old. I am from Bhaktapur, Nepal. I am person with severe hemophilia A with inhibitor. मेरो टार्गेट जोइन यो दाहिने घुँडा भएको हुनाले सानै उमेरदेखि यो घुँडा दुख्ने भएको हुनाले मेरो हरेक दुखाइ र पीडामा बाँच्दै आइरहेको छु हेमोफिलियाको उपचार नभएर मेरो लागि आँगन नै परदेश भइसकेको थियो मेरो घुँडाको अवस्था निकै नै नाजुक भइसकेको र सिडियो ट्युमर नै भइसकेको अवस्था इनिबिटर भएको हुनाले मैले आफ्नो ज्यानै गुमाउनु पर्ने अवस्थामा पुगिसकेको थिएँ एकातिर पर्याप्त औषधि र अर्कोतिर डाक्टरको टिम नभएको हुनाले मेरो अपरेसन पनि हुन सकिरहेको थिएन मेरो जीवन र मृत्युको क्षणमा थोरै औषधिले पनि डाक्टर विशेषको पहलमा अपरेसन सफल भएको थियो नेपालको इतिहासमा हेमोफिलियायुक्त व्यक्तिको मेजर सर्जरी भएको यो पहिलो घटना थियो त्यसपछि बिस्तारै भए पनि मैले नक्कली खुट्टा लगाएर आफ्नो दैनिक जीवनको कामहरू गर्ने र धेरै समयको अन्तरालपछि मैले फेरि आफ्नो कलेज जोइन गर्ने कुराहरू गरेँ र त्यसपछि मैले मोबाइल रिपेयरिङको कामहरू सिकेर अहिले म आफ्नो एउटा सानो मोबाइल रिपेयरिङ सम्बन्धी पसलहरू खोलेर काम गरिरहेको छु
Thanks to humanitarian aid, we now have clotting factors, and because of several workshops, seminars, publications, physicians and other healthcare workers are more interested in hemophilia care and are willing to contribute.
Thank you so much for the humanitarian aids for providing life-saving factor to us. Thank you very much.
Amazing. No matter how many times I see that video, it never fails to just really get me. So, all right, taking a deep breath. Now we're going to move on to our journey of musical instruments from around the world. So it might be hard to buy milk in China, but they do have great tea, and therefore they have great tea cups. Now you might notice some holes in this teacup. That is not a flaw in the design. It is because it is actually an ocarina. That's right. So I'm going to play a little bit of my ocarina teacup for you now, like this. And I'm going to practice a few exercises like this. You're supposed to get faster. Okay, I'm sorry. I get a little excited when I'm practicing those exercises on the ocarina teacup. I apologize for that before and now and for the future. I would now like to bring to the stage Aiden Bahar, who is the drummer on Kuza, and he is currently in Tel Aviv, Israel, which is his home. And he's going to speak a little bit about staying resilient after he joined tour a couple of years ago. So here's Aiden.
Hi everyone, my name is Eden. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, Michael and Anne, for inviting me. I would love to speak with you guys about being vegan. As you can see, I'm a drummer and I'm also vegan for the last 6 years now. Being in Kuza as a vegan was very tricky because I was the first one. They had a few vegetarian people before I joined, but then when I joined, I was the first vegan, so they really had to adjust a lot of stuff for me. The kitchen, they basically changed a lot of their menus to bring more vegan food. And Julie, the main chef, is amazing, and she really made me feel like home. And then in the wardrobe, it was a different story, because for me, being vegan is not only about food. Okay, it's also about the clothes I wear. It's also about the soap I use, cruelty-free soap. So in the wardrobe, they had to change the shoes from leather to non-leather shoes. And also the makeup I used. What I used was cruelty-free makeup, and really they made a change like super fast when I came. I had 2 weeks to integrate and to learn all the show. During this time, they basically changed a lot of stuff for me, for my lifestyle. And I know this lifestyle is not easy, but they really made a big effort for me, and I really cherish what they did for me. I don't take that for granted, and this is very beautiful. I really want to give a really big shout out to all the people in Kuza who I miss deeply. I miss very deeply. Thank you.
All right, Aiden. Fun fact, the music you heard underneath this video, he recorded that himself, playing the drums and whistling. So that was all Aiden. All right, and now I get to introduce you to Ayub Merabet, a Roussier artist. This apparatus is called Roussier or sear wheel. It's like a large metal ring that you spin around in. I've tried it before. I got very dizzy, so I stopped. But Ayub kept going, and I've never met Ayub in person, but he is not only a phenomenal artist. We've been working together over this past year, but he is just the nicest and most genuine person you could ever hope to meet. So I'm so happy that you're going to get to see some of his remarkable talent now. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Ayub Merabet. Brilliant. Brilliant, Ayub. So fantastic. All right. Now, continuing our journey around the world, we now have come to the part about self-advocacy. And look, no one knows what I need better than me. And this was never more evident than when I was packing to go on tour with the circus. And about 3/4 of my luggage space was taken up with juggling equipment, musical instruments, and Guitar Hero stuff. That's right, the video game Guitar Hero. By contrast, when Anne packed, about 3/4 of her luggage was filled with reasonable items like clothes and blankets and personal care items. And only 1/4 of her luggage was filled with like art supplies and things to help keep her, really happy on tour. But what I needed was the stuff that I needed, and the stuff that Anne needed was just different. So we need to be able to speak up about what our own needs are. And this is a huge part of being both on tour with the circus and to live in the bleeding disorder community. So you've got to trust yourself. You've got to find providers who are going to listen to your needs. You've got to learn how to tell your story to people who make decisions that can impact your life, like legislators. Or in the case of the circus, your tour director. So people with bleeding disorders, you're familiar with having to be your own best self-advocates a lot already. And that's the same thing that folks in the circus have to do in order to survive on the road. So to speak a little bit more about self-advocacy, Anne had a wonderful conversation with our friend Patty Morales, who was a stage manager on Kuzo for a time, and then she went on to another show, but we were able to reconnect and have this wonderful conversation. So please roll that tape.
All right, everybody. I've been thinking a lot about self-advocacy and what that has to do with the hemophilia community and what that has to do with world travel. So my dear friend Patty is here with us today, and not only is she multilingual, but she also works with a community of people in the circus where everybody speaks a lot of different languages, and her job as a stage manager is to make sure that all the artists understand where they need to be and what they need to be doing. And she can't give up if they don't understand. They have to understand because it's safety. It's the way the show runs. It's making sure that they're in the right place at the right time and making sure that no one gets hurt. So, Patty, would you mind introducing yourself?
Absolutely. Ok, mi nombre es Patricia Morales, me pueden decir Pati. Soy mexicana y trabajo en Cirque Du Soleil como stage manager. So I should say that in English as well. My name is Patricia Morales, Patty, and I am from Mexico, and I work with Cirque Du Soleil as a stage manager.
Thank you so much for joining us for this call. In hemophilia, we start really young talking about independence, about being able to self-infuse so that you can go out into the world and you don't have to be dependent on your mother, or you don't have to be dependent on a nurse or a hospital system. But we also teach self-advocacy. And self-advocacy is both being able to take care of yourself, but also to be able to advocate for yourself, meaning ask for what you need. And sometimes what we need is help.
I have found that sometimes in the modern world, we pay a lot of attention to certain traits that they're not bad, but when we don't balance them out, they can be bad. And self-reliance, I find that is one of them. It is on a par with perfectionism, in that it is very good to be independent and to figure out things for yourself, but not to your detriment, not when that makes you not see that sometimes you need help, or that sometimes some other person is more of an expert on an area that could give you some very good advice. And I find it interesting because when you let go of that pressure, I'm independent and self-reliant and I don't need anyone. When you let go of that, what happens is that I find that when you ask someone for help, not only you're being vulnerable and being honest to yourself, which is healthy, but also you're validating the value of the other person. You are actually saying, whatever you've got going on, I respect that, or I reckon that your point of view has value and I'd like to hear it. So actually, it's asking for help can be very generous, because some people are happy to hear, hey, I've noticed that over the years you've become really good at this topic. Could you give me a hand? That is validation as well.
So I've been thinking a lot about why do we work so hard at independence when they're so young, and we talk, 6 years old, you go to Camp Bald Eagle, we start working on your infusion training. But that by the time you're 13, 14, the topics of teen retreat are things like speaking up in your doctor's appointment, healthcare advocacy, that we do refine that message. That's exactly the right word. And then as we get older, educational advocacy, making sure that your needs are met in the classroom, onto workplace advocacy, and onto financial advocacy, understanding what you need in order to be able to be financially secure in your life. When I see a great organization like HFM is there for people at anywhere along the journey, whether you're a new parent and you've just found out that your child has a bleeding disorder and you're not sure what to do, to 6-7 years later when we're starting to say, hey, time to send your kid to camp, to 6-7 years later when we're starting to say, hey, send that teen to teen retreat. And all the way there are parents with those parents, and all the way there are siblings with those siblings, and all the way there are other people with bleeding disorders with the people with bleeding disorders. But the message is being refined. Then we start, and that's where advocacy and self-advocacy is one of my favorite topics, because it's such a, it's not a simple topic.
No, it's very deep. It's very deep. It's layered. In many ways, not only in health, but in many ways, we all have different journeys and different lessons that we're going through in life. And we happen to meet people in the middle of their journeys, which is quite awesome because that teaches us things at the same time. But I think that it sounds like the hemophilia community has pretty much nailed down knowing that you got to be part of the whole journey, and that the teachings that you have to give to children at the very beginning get refined over time. I think that is truly, truly beautiful.
Welcome back, writers. All right. What I have here is our last entry in musical instruments I've gotten from all around the world while on tour with the circus. This is called a handpan. So it kind of looks like a big UFO. It's got a sound hole in the bottom. It's got these, what they call tone fields on the top. And this is, you may have heard like a steel drum, or they also call that a pan, like at the beach. People play them with little hammers. This is a pan, but you play it with your hand, hence the name handpan. And so this one I got in Perth, Australia. I've always wanted a handpan, and I happened to meet up with someone who is one of the top players in the world in Perth, and he happened to have a handpan for sale. And the cool thing about this is that etched in the side, it's somewhere on the bottom here, is the merge date. So that's kind of like the birth date for a handpan. It's when the top half and the bottom half are merged together. And the date on this particular handpan is December 26th, 2015, which also happens to be the exact day that I received a call from Cirque Du Soleil offering me the part in Cusa. And so wanting one of these for so many years, finally getting one and having it connect up with my journey like that was just beyond spectacular. So I would like to play a little bit on the handpan for you now, just to give you a little taste of what it sounds like. And there you go, the handpan. Okay, folks, we are at the last act of the evening, and this is a Diablo act. So for those of you who might not be familiar, a Diablo is just like a large yo-yo, except the string is not connected, and the string is held on together by 2 hand sticks. And so you can throw it up off the string, do a whole bunch of tricks. Well, I don't have to tell you about the tricks because William Wei Liang Lin, who is our next performer and our final performer for the evening, is going to show you all the tricks because he is a master of the Diablo. So please welcome to the virtual stage, William Wei Liang Lin.
awesome. Amazing.
Spectacular. This is the look on my face. That was spectacular. William Liang Lin.
Amazing.
And now, keep it going, because I'd like to bring back all of the artists from tonight. Please welcome back to the stage, Ninjin, Tang Huyig,
Hello.
Cinder, Ink Tour, Ayub Maribet, and William Wei Liang Lin. Yeah, all right. Woo! All right, folks. Now we have an extra added bonus tonight of having all of these phenomenal artists with us to answer a few questions from you. So if you have questions, please type them into the chat window and we'll throw them on the screen. But I'm going to start everyone off with a quick question because I need to let you know that William, Sender, and Ninjin are 12 hours ahead of us. So it is 7 o'clock in the morning. They had to log in at 5:30 this morning to be on with us today. So thank you so much for being up so early. Ayub is 4 hours ahead in Morocco, in Celhi, Morocco. William is in Taipei, Taiwan, and Ninjin and Cinder are in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia. So thank you again so much for being here with us. To kick things off, I'm just going to ask you one of my favorite questions to ask anyone, which is, what did you have for breakfast today? And it might be too early for breakfast for some of you, so if you haven't eaten yet, that's okay. But what is the last thing that you ate today? Let's see. Oh, William, what you got there?
Morning coffee.
Coffee. Oh, very good. Coffee for that early in the morning. Cinder, what did you eat recently?
It was a burger.
Oh, burger! Fantastic. Ayub, how about you?
It was a cheese with some bread and coffee.
Perfect. Cheese, bread, and coffee. That is brilliant. And Ninjin, what was the last thing that you ate?
I think I ate before the bed some chips.
Chips. All right, very good. Late night snack. Haven't had breakfast yet because it's way too early. Okay, do we have a question? Oh, we have a question from Jennifer. What age did you start training for your skill? That's a great question. Let's see. Ninjin, would you like to start us off? What age did you start training?
For sure. I started contortion when I was 5 years old. Contortionists usually start at a very young age.
Very good. Very good. And I would imagine, yeah. And so Cinder, did you also start training at a young age?
Yeah, when I was 7 years old.
Wow. What was I doing when I was 7? It was not training to be a world-class circus artist. I'll tell you that. Ayub, when did you start training your circus skills?
I started training the circus school for real when I was 15 years old. Exactly.
15. Very good. Very good. Much earlier than me. I didn't start till I was 19. So, and William, when did you start training, sir?
When I was 10 years old. Yes.
You all got such early starts. And that's why you're all much better circus artists than I am. Okay, so we have another question now from Jenna Wicks. Amazing. Charlie is wondering if Ayub ever gets dizzy. Ayub, do you ever get dizzy spinning around in that steer wheel?
But in the first time, sure. But after you use the bodies, and you have also a technique where you can turn and lift your, like your face will turn after. So that helps you to turn good.
Very good. I think dancers use the same technique called spotting. So you turn your body and then you whip your head around so that you focus on one spot, and it helps keep you from getting dizzy. That did not help me because I tried training on a steer wheel for about 2 months or 3 months really, and I got just way too dizzy every time. All right. Sarah asks, do you get nervous before your performances, and what do you do to deal with that nervousness? So, William, do you get nervous before performances now?
Yes, every show, even
Really?
now. Yes, every show in the Kusa, all the show, I'm nervous before the show. But what can I do? It's do it and enjoy enjoy the stage, and then I feel more easy, more free, more relaxed in the show. So yeah, before the show, nervous, and I will warm up, and then I will tell me, "Oh, I'm the best. Yes, I can do it." And then let's do it, and then go, and then enjoy the stage. Yes,
I love it. I love it. Okay, so we have a new question here from Carrie. Let's see. What is your favorite place that you have ever performed? Ninjun, would you like to take that one? And for Cinder, if you would if you would like to answer that, or if you would like to translate, that is also great. So Ninjun, what is the favorite place you have ever performed?
Okay. Okay, I think my favorite place is London because when we are in Kusa, we performed in Royal Albert Hall. It was amazing. The huge stage and the audiences are much more than the normal tent. So it was amazing. And the stage was so beautiful. Yeah.
Everyone I know on Kusa who has performed during that run in Royal Albert Hall just absolutely loved it. So that's wonderful, wonderful. And Cinder, would you care to translate, or Cinder, would you just like to answer in English?
Сингапурт хамгийн гусад очоод тоглолцсон байна.
Very cool. I love Singapore. It was one of my favorite cities that I've been to. Yeah. Beautiful. It was so hot and humid. It's like 1 degree above the equator, but it was brilliant. The chili crab. Chili crab. Okay, we have another question from Ellen. How did you get interested in doing these circus arts? Like, what brought you to the circus? So, Ayub, what brought you to the circus to begin with?
First of all, I was watching circus shows in the TV. I remember when it was like black and white, and it was like in the weekend, and I remember Saturday. And I think I started loving this branch, and I had the chance in 2013 to try some workshops of jangling, dance, and after this, I get interesting, you understand, and I love this. I discover a lot of things. I find, good friends, and you live something is different. So that's what makes me really get interested in this.
That's very cool. Very cool. All right, looks like we have a new question. Let's see. Oh, there we go. It's from Gwen. I have a friend who went to circus school in Sarasota, Florida. Are there circus schools in other countries? That's a great question, Gwen. And William, would you like to take that? Do you know of other circus schools in other places around the world?
Yes, I think so. There's so many circus school in the world, and in Taiwan we also have a circus school. But I'm not from circus school. I just from normal school, and then just like Diablo, and just play, and then until now.
Oh, very good, very good. Now I know Ayub went to a circus school specifically. Is that correct, Ayub?
Is not really correct, because we have a place here. It's just an association that have a place, and it have some materials, but it doesn't have like real teachers, or you understand, there is not the real conditions for a school of circus as we saw in Europe, in America. So it's not the same conditions.
Okay. Oh, I understand. And Nijun and
exactly.
Sender, did you go specifically to a contortion academy? Was it circus arts, like all circus arts, or just specifically contortion?
Yes, we have a circus school in Mongolia. They started at age of 14 until 18. For contortionists, we go to like contortion studios, like after school program for girls and boys. Boys can also do contortion. We do like after school. Yes.
Very good. Very good. And I know that in the United States, there are a number of circus schools. There's one very famous one in San Francisco called Circus Center. And they also have a clown conservatory out there. They've got ones in Florida, in Sarasota. That's the one that Gwen mentioned. And in Montreal, it's a very famous circus school as well in Canada. So this next question is actually for Ninjin. Do you teach your skills to others? Do you share your
Yes,
vast array of
currently,
contortion?
yes.
Yes,
Yes,
you do. That's
currently
great.
I opened my own studio in Mongolia, and I'm teaching girls and older women. I'm teaching the stretching for children. I'm teaching contortion.
That's wonderful. Congratulations on opening up your studio. We spoke about that a little bit
Thank you.
before, but it's like someone is interested here. So, all right, we have a question from Maya. Do you have any other interests or hobbies? This is a great question for circus people because they think, oh, you just do your circus art and that's it. But do you have other hobbies or interests? Cinder, do you have other interests or hobbies?
I like take pictures.
Oh, very good. I actually have seen some of your pictures. They're very good. Wonderful. Excellent. So you're a photographer. William, do you have any other hobbies or interests?
Yeah, I do. I like to do some handmade, like little
Oh, yes. Yeah.
carbon sticks, but it's a pen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So these are like the Diablo sticks, but they are writing pens.
Yes, and I like to do something by hand. So this I made. It's a LED.
Right. He
sticks.
made those.
Yes, I made these ones.
Oh, he had to experiment and they look so good. So with a light up Diablo and the light up sticks,
yes,
it is phenomenal. So
yeah, I like a handmade.
Yeah, fabrication. I love it too, man. Ayub, how about you? Do you have any other interests or hobbies?
I love cooking, so I try always to cook something really good. And
Very good. What is one of your favorite dishes to cook?
Actually, I really know how to cook traditional food of Morocco. So I love to make a different tagine, if you heard about it, and to make a different spice. Yeah, it's
Very
really
good.
famous. So I try to give a taste. Yeah.
Well, when we finally meet in person, I would love to have some of your cooking. So, okay, very good.
Sure.
All right, next question from Robin. What advice would you give to someone who might think they would like to get into the circus arts and become a circus performer? So what kind of advice, Ninjin, would you give someone who wants to, come run away with the circus?
Yeah, just go for it. Try new things. There are so many acts you can try, and each one of us has own unique special things. So you just go for it.
That's great advice, and I absolutely agree. I think just try it. Even if it doesn't become a career, you can always get a lot of benefit and fun and fulfillment just from juggling, from any of the circus arts. So absolutely, I highly encourage it. And there's lots of great ways to learn it. So please go for it, just like Ninjin said. All right, question from Carrie. Joseph, age seven, would like to ask Ninjin and Cinder, how much times do you practice? Also, he thinks they should go on the floor. You should go on the floor is lava because flexible people always make it through the course. So the floor is lava is a game show where you pretend that the floor is lava. This is a game that we play in the United States and maybe other places too. But you just pretend that the floor is hot, so you can't touch the floor. You have to get up on furniture and you have to crawl over things. And the only rule is you cannot touch the floor because the floor is lava. And so they're saying that you would do well because flexible people, because they have to get to different places, do really well. So hopefully one day we'll see both of you on that show.
Yeah.
Oh, but how much
try.
do you practice? Yeah, exactly. How much do you practice contortion a day? So for both of you, for Ninjin and Cinder.
When we were young, we practiced usually for 3 to 4 hours a day, 6 days a week.
3 to 4
For
hours.
now, we only practice for 2 hours. 2 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours.
Only 1 or 2 hours. That's still a lot. That is still a lot. Ayub, how much do you practice?
When I was in that school, I practiced for 4 hours a day, and right now 2 hours a day, 1 hour. It depends because I'm working, so it depends.
All right, very good. And William, how about you? How much do you practice a day or a week?
Yeah, it's same, almost same like them. Like when in the school, training 2 or 3 hours, and now it's 2 hours.
Okay.
Every day, yes.
Very good. I practice for 3 minutes a day. No. You have to, when you're learning, you have to practice more. Practice. All right. Very good. So this is our last question. Oh, that was our last question. All right. Well, folks, artists, Ayub, Ninjin, Sender, William, thank you so much for being with us and for sharing your brilliant and amazing talent with us. Thank you for getting up early or staying up late. And thank you just for being wonderful human beings and people that I know and love from around the world. So thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you next time. And like we say, so for those of you who might not know, in the circus, there's a tradition. We never say goodbye in the circus. We say see you down the road. So we'll see you down the road. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And folks, that brings us to the end of our program. I am so looking forward to the entire SpringFest weekend. I hope you are too. I would like to speak for a moment about Goose Chase, because if you haven't already downloaded the app, please go download the app and join the SpringFest game. Okay, it's the best way to engage in the social side of SpringFest. You can do missions with your family, and they're so engaging and so fun. And then you also get to see what some of the other families are doing, right? And it's so brilliant. And let's not forget that there are prizes, right? Complete your missions, rack up your points, and then join us on Saturday for the awards and just basically see how everyone did. We're going to be awarding gift certificates to the Bavarian Inn. That's right, in Frankenmuth. We're also going to be awarding gift cards. So please be sure to show up on Saturday, and please be sure to participate. Download that Goose Chase app and do it, because we're going to give you a quick 1,000 points in Goose Chase right now, just by showing up tonight for this opening performance. You can go to the code word opening night mission, and type in the word time, TIME, just like gotta get back in time, right? So do that. You'll get a cool 1,000 points. And so you heard it here. You heard it loud and clear. All right. So thank you for going on this virtual journey around the world with us. We cannot wait for the rest of this weekend. We'll see you around. We'll see you on Goose Chase, and then we'll see you on Saturday.